And why is it relevant to cite some journal that doesn't even make the backwaters to lend some sort of academic credibility to this? And then not to cite, say, a video which has a 95% approval rating, a third of a million hits, that shows in black and white terms how dishonest Anita Sarkeesian is being, that was made by someone who is by any definition a scholar of the pattern finder variety, a scientist.
Is it impossible for God to exist?
The question is malformed.
Is it impossible? Is it an absolute impossibility for God to exist?
There is, when you say, is it impossible? It is a malformed question.
Is it impossible for God to exist?
You have a brain that finds patterns, right?
Well, we're going to get to that in a second, but what I'm asking is it possible or is it impossible for God to exist?
So this is a question about models of reality, yeah?
Does reality exist?
Seems to be a fairly persistent illusion.
Okay, so is it impossible for God to exist in your reality?
You do understand that in itself is a model.
Okay, in your reality, in your model of reality, is it impossible for God to exist?
It is a redundant concept. It is, that's actually disconcertingly close when you see pull that right up.
Oh, it's a real, I don't want to get all the background noise, so it's made like that.
Okay. It is a redundant model, right?
So it's impossible for God to exist, or it's not impossible?
No, look, listen to what I'm saying. It is a redundant model. It would be like saying, is it impossible for an invisible pink unicorn to exist at every point in every conceivable universe?
Is it impossible for an invisible pink unicorn to exist in every single point of the universe? Is that an impossibility?
It's a pointless question. It can never be.
What would be the answer to that question?
It's a malformed question.
So you're saying yes, it is impossible, or no, it's not impossible?
This microphone that you have was created because we actually can form models of reality, and those models have predictive capability. This is what it's all about, forming models of predictive capability about reality.
So I don't understand why you don't want to simply answer.
Come back here. Right? Now, the thing about proposing a God as an explanatory concept for anything, any unknown can explain any other unknown. So when you propose something like a God, it has complete explanatory power, but it has zero predictive capability, which is why things like microphones were actually invented by scientists and not by theologists.
Not even to that yet, though. All I'm asking is, let me put it this way. Let's suppose for a second that you and I had 1% of all the knowledge in the universe. I think that would be exaggerated a great deal. But let's just suppose we don't know this, but we thought we had 1% of all the knowledge in the universe. Is it possible, here's my just simple logical question, is it possible out of the 99% that we don't possess, and it's probably more than that something could contradict the 1% that we think we do have? Is that a possibility? Would you concede that?
Do you understand that what you've done is just another malformed question, right? You've proposed, well, let's say there is a finite amount of knowledge in the universe. You accept that you proposed that there is a finite amount of knowledge in the universe.
I didn't, because I even asked you if it was, I said, if there's a universal amount, and you said, well, I don't like that. I said, okay, let's suppose 1% of however much there is, and you don't like that. You're not kind of answering any questions. I'm going, okay.
No, I'm giving you answers. It's just you're not understanding them.
Well, no, it's that you can't. Would you be willing to admit that you could be wrong about everything you think you know?
The easiest version of that question is, do you think that reality exists?
Do you think that reality exists? I would say yes, and I have a reason. I just answered. Okay, well, you said it depends on what reality model you're talking about. So, are there different versions of reality?
There don't seem to be.
Okay, so then that question is really pointless about the different versions. If you don't believe there are, I'm talking about what you believe. According to your version of reality, how much knowledge do we have?
In order to actually ascertain what fraction of the total you actually have as knowledge, you must first establish what the total is. That's an unknown.
I agree.
So you're asking a question that is undefined. You
Okay.
understand that?
If we did know how much there was,
Which we don't.
okay, which we don't. If we did, and you could quantify how much you have, and you quantified that you had 1% of all the knowledge in the universe, is it possible that out of the 99% that you don't have, something could contradict your 1%?
This is the thing. People who actually care about spending their lives doing useful things don't waste them proposing futile questions that can never be answered.
They're not laughing at you!